Hey, Ivan, this is Austin Greenfield calling. How you doing?
Good, good.
Hey, this is the newsman.
Huh?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm going to give a little weather report if you don't mind.
All right, go ahead.
All right.
It's cold.
Tonight, mostly clear. We'll see lows around 10. Friday, partly sunny, highs in the mid-20s. Saturday, partly sunny. A bit warmer highs in the lower to mid-30s. Sunday, a chance of some snow. Light snow, highs in the mid-30s. President's Day, mostly sunny highs in the upper 30s.
I can turn on the Weather Channel.
Going on from Tuesday into Wednesday of next week, highs will be reaching 40 by Wednesday with partly sunny skies.
Well,
that's a
thank you
problem
very
with
much.
weather.
Thank you, Ivan.
All right, okay.
Bye.
That's the problem with weather. Everyone always talks about it, but no one ever does anything about it.
Why is the newsman calling up with a weather report?
What's wrong with that? Because I want to hear what's going to happen this
40
week. because I wanna
degrees
go
next
out. 40
week.
degrees,
Great.
yeah, a little bit warmer.
Weatherman live.
But, okay, here you go. Caller, the young lady who actually called, please call back because I have it here. In the
Irregardless.
dictionary, okay, the Webster 7th New Collegiate Dictionary. Irregardless is a word, okay? Irregardless is a word, okay? To blend irrespective and, regardless, nonsense, regardless, whatever it is. It is a word. Look in the dictionary. Irregardless is a word. So, please, before you call to insult anybody, please check the terms because look, I know sometimes I don't speak proper English, but you know what? We all having fun, and it is a word, okay?
In other news, one of the points that I wanted to make that it was echoing something Marty said was it came out I think about 2 weeks ago. News Times had a nice article about it in the front page of the local section that. Connecticut was one of the three biggest states that had a population drop last year. One of the three biggest population drops in the state, in Connecticut. And this does nothing to help improve that.
Have you had any children, Matt?
What? No.
Well, get on the stick.
Well, I would agree with you on that,
Actually,
Lynn.
you know
I
what,
think that
though?
needs to
Matt
be
is exactly
Why
right
is
about
that?
one thing, especially for younger people and older people in Connecticut.
can't
There's no
For
jobs.
those, well, there are jobs, and there are decent jobs. Maybe they're not as plentiful
this is
here
us.
as they
There's
would
no
be
power.
in the West or the Southwest. The repairman now. The reality is, though, if you're, for the most part, the young and the old in Connecticut who had been on the fence as to whether or not to leave Connecticut, Jody Rell just kicked them off. They know what they need to do right now, and they're going to move to a warmer locale with an overall lower tax burden. That means Florida, it means Arizona, and it means Texas, Carolinas.
It's true. I mean, I think the increase in taxes, it's no surprise that Connecticut, being one of the most heavily taxed states in the Union, is having a population decrease. And,
the job decrease. There's no jobs for young, graduate, college graduate students.
Well, there are.
One of the big points too. One of the biggest, and Lynn, you're a city official. One of the biggest problems that I saw in studying municipalities in college when my university did a project on it was that municipal employees are starting to retire in droves. And young people, which came on to municipalities 25 and 30 years ago into municipal jobs, are not coming on today. And that's a big problem. Around about 10 years from now, you're going to have a full-time shortage of municipal employees, not just in Connecticut, all over the country. And that's a big problem. And I don't see local officials as doing anything to recruit municipal employees because they're all looking for people with experience. Like if you're going to hire a fire marshal, you want an experienced fire marshal, not somebody who can cut his teeth. If you want a controller, you don't want a Wall Street whiz kid that could cut his teeth in controller. You want an experienced municipal controller. And that's one of the biggest types of jobs being lost in Connecticut. We need to get younger people in municipal jobs.
Now let's go back to this tax increase thing. Whatever happened to the lottery? We're supposed to receive money from the lottery, right? Whatever happened to the casinos?
Weren't you there when they passed the lottery?
I'd like to kill that question with a baseball bat. 'Cause
Okay.
It comes up year after year after year, and it goes like this. Wasn't the lottery supposed to pay for education?
Well, that's what they
Same
say.
question is always asked of the casino revenue.
Yeah,
Yes.
the casinos, right?
All of that funding goes into the general fund. And that's how we fund education, but it's not dedicated to it.
The money is spent, but the reality is it was never meant to be the be-all and end-all. It was never meant to be a permanent fix because the reality was, yeah, it was $30 million or whatever we get a month or a quarter from the casino money, the slot machine revenue, great, sure. But when the growth in spending outpaces that, eventually it catches up to you, and that's what Connecticut does. We spend more money than we take in consistently until obviously now when Jody Rell's just going to grossly increase our taxes and find some kind of equilibrium. Connecticut is just a very heavily burdened state when it comes to taxes. Our property taxes are very high because our property values are high, and our overall state burden is very high, and that pushes people out. You said before we don't have jobs, we don't have good jobs for young people. That's not true. We do have them, but they're
Flipping burgers.
Well, they're in Stamford, and they're in Norwalk, and they're centered in southwestern Fairfield County. When you go out towards New Haven, there's nothing. New London, nothing. Hartford, you know, Matt works up in Hartford, and there is some growth up
Let me
there.
explain about Hartford. We've got more young people commuting in from Massachusetts every day than we have from living in Connecticut, and that's wrong. That's wrong. The younger people, most of the people in my office, commute from Massachusetts every day because Taxachusetts is no longer Taxachusetts anymore. They can afford to live in central Mass than they can in Connecticut. And if you go down to Greenwich and Stamford, where there are quite a few jobs for younger people too, they're living over in Westchester County, not in Scarsdale or Hartsdale or anything like that, but in Yonkers and in Portchester and Rye and all of that.
Connecticut, though, you know, for all the burdens that do exist here, it is a fine state to live in, and we do have a generally high quality of life.
Thank you.
And we do have proximity to New York City and proximity to Boston, a shoreline of sorts.
And we got the center of the universe. We call it Brookfield.
The home of Jody Rowell.
That's right. That's right.
You know, Connecticut does have some things going for it. And Connecticut should be a leader in so many ways. It should be a leader on education. It should be a leader in economic growth. But we're not because of the tax burden. You know, Lynn and I could probably debate forever the overall dollar burden that people pay versus if it's the property tax that should be reformed or the income tax or anything else. But when you look at Connecticut, and we're actually doing worse in growth, in jobs, and in population as a percentage than New Hampshire. What does that say? New Hampshire is not exactly a great climate to live in. Once you get north of
But
Concord,
they have low taxes.
But they have low taxes.
They have business-friendly environment.
They do.
And they have a great motto.
And state-run liquor stores.
They do. You know, Connecticut, in between New Hampshire and New Jersey, we're the loser in this. New Jersey's actually doing quite well in northern New Jersey.
New Jersey is the highest burden tax
And central
state.
New Jersey is doing fairly well. Southern Jersey, that's not doing all that well. So what is it about Connecticut?
But don't you think our area of Connecticut is poised for that kind of growth? Obviously, you're not going to have
I can't say our area.
between Norwalk
Lynn,
and
you know as well as we do. I mean, you represented this area in the legislature. You know as well as we do that most of the people in Hartford have to be reminded that Danbury is not part of New York.
That's right.
They do.
That was primarily with the Rowland administration,
So
where
do you
the
think
state
that's what Boughton is trying
line
to
came
do?
right through Waterbury.
Do you think that's what Boughton is trying to do?
No, but I mean, Fairfield, New Haven counties are the part of Connecticut that are considered New York, Connecticut. The rest. Of
But we
Connecticut
have the infrastructure. If we improve the rail, we want to see this whole area develop along I-84.
But that's what Boughton is doing, right?
But
No.
Lynn, you
7924101. 7924101.
What is Boughton doing?
Please call me.
He's building railroads now?
Developer.
But Lynn,
Yes, with
you
slave labor.
see no connection in the increase in taxes and the fact that people are leaving the state. I mean, we did lose a seat in Congress as a result of a loss of
And we could
population.
lose another one.
Yeah, I mean, people don't have to live here. They can vote with their feet and exit the state.
Well, people are always going to go where there are good jobs and a lower cost of living. And if we're going to compete in that arena, I would say you want to compete in terms of having lower property taxes.
Okay, and you think that raising income taxes is going to somehow watch the sliding hand result in lower property
It didn't happen in
taxes?
1991.
Well-
It absolutely won't work.
Well, if the governor's plan is to fund 50% of the cost of local education right now in Danbury, the property tax funds 60%. So I see a potential for that property tax to go down by 10%.
Okay, when the tax
So what-
when the
so
tax
what does
system
that
was
mean?
revamped,
Mark
when the
this
tax
in.
system was
Taxes
revamped
are
in
going to go down
1991.
10%.
Oh my goodness, they're both talking
When the
in.
tax system was revamped in 1991, did it or did it not work out? Did it work the way it was intended to work when it was passed in 91, or did it not?
It stabilized Connecticut's revenue. That's what it was
Stabilized
supposed to
Connecticut's
do.
revenue.
Now, Mrs. Tabasak, what does that mean
That's
for
a
all
no,
those
I think.
condos that are being built?
What does it mean for them? They're going
Right.
to be
If
filled
it's
with
go down to
students.
10%.
But,
But you said the tax is going to go down to 10%, right?
And by the way, Ivan, you look at all this growth in condos and in home development. Those people are working somewhere, so there is
Yeah,
job growth,
but they
it is
working in New
localized.
York,
It's
not
service.
here.
It's
Or in
yeah,
Massachusetts?
Flipping burgers.
They working
well,
in
an
New
average
York.
burger
They're
flipper
not
can't afford a
spending here.
$600,000
We got a
condo,
No, they can't.
but
Okay, we have
they are working somewhere.
Call on your air.
Yeah, Ivan, you didn't think you'd get away with a show without
Frank.
me calling up
Hey,
there.
how you doing, Frank?
Hi, Frank.
Good evening, good friends. I fail to believe raising the income tax is going to solve anything. They keep on addressing the effect, not the cause. All the money from the original income tax is supposed to solve our problems. They're conning us saying we have to bring back the tolls to fix up roads. When they had the tolls, we still had bridges falling down, killing people. It doesn't go to fix the highways when they tax us. It goes to pay for 59,000 state employees. Most of them do nothing. 59,000 state employees. New Jersey has 49,000 state employees and 12 million people. New Hampshire has 2 million people. They have 4,000 state employees. They have 4,000 people in jail or on parole. Connecticut has 60,000 people.
Frank, do you have a question?
These are interesting figures, though.
People don't know what's going on. They're going them human cattle.
Exactly.
So raising taxes on working class people and upper corporate, middle corporate people, they're going to bail out, just like they did underneath Weicker and Lynn's House of Representatives that she was a part of. They bailed out. We had negative population growth. Our property values went down because there's more people moving out than in, and it's going to happen again. This is going to be for sale city, up and down every street in Connecticut.
Thank you.
You wish you were state employee, Bureau of Indian Affairs, Bureau of Latino Affairs, Bureau of African Affairs, with 30, 40 employees. Lynn, the average citizen doesn't know they have all these phony jobs in Connecticut. Just there you go. Ciao, ciao.
Frank,
All right,
Frank, should we put a sign on the New York border that says, "Welcome to our corrupt little state"?
You know what? We need to stop this because
What?
we need to stop this madness, okay? Because the more you tax them, the bigger the government gets. Look what George Bush is basically doing to this country, okay? He is destroying this country, and now we have this governor who wants to raise taxes for what I don't know.
Education.
Education. You know what? I believe that we have enough good teachers, we have enough money, okay, to give our children a sound education. What happened is that there's no accountability.
Ivan, one of the things
There's no
you and I talked
accountability.
about was the most profound education begins in the home, right?
It begins in the home. Exactly. And that's what we talked about
just at
last
the
week.
magnet school
Okay?
in
Money.
Danbury, and that's what they were talking about.
Right.
That regardless of all the other criteria, it's the involvement of the family that really makes the difference. And I almost disagree with this. I mean, Lynn, when you gleefully say, well, why are we raising that? For education, and that's
Well, I read
supposedly...
the budget. I can
understand,
tell you what
but I mean,
she said.
supposedly, like, if you say, well, the money's going for education, that sort of stops the debate, because who's against education? I mean, you bring up, like, well, let's have some more state troopers. Well, who's against law and order? Nobody. No one's against education. But the fact that the premise of if we spend more money on education, we spend more money per pupil, it does not calculate that you get increased test scores, increased
Marty,
going on to college education. It just doesn't.
She's proposing a high school exam in order to graduate.
It almost sounds like one No Child
exams.
Left Behind.
No, I
Exactly.
mean, you're talking about
more exams.
accountability. She's talking about taking over schools that fail. I mean, yeah, I hate to be the Democrat defending her proposal, but I took the time to read her budget.
Well, I feel that you need to go back and reassess what we have now before you just throw in that money, because it's not going to do any good. It starts in the home. Caller, you're in the air. Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
I'm hearing about the education situation. I'm really concerned about that because as a teacher here, although I don't want to see the state budget increased either, our teacher union has been depleted of almost $40 million or $60 million. And, what are we going to do about that?
That's true.
Well, if you don't mind, Maya, what teachers union and who depleted the $60 million? What are you referring to?
Well, I'm talking about the state for the state union, that we have close to $60 million depleted from our union.
Is this your pension fund?
For the pension fund.
Oh, well, in the governor's budget, she fully funds it, both in 2000 and in 2007 and 08, she fully funds that. So
Well, I'm
I'm
obviously in favor of fully funded pensions for teachers. I feel as if teachers are very well paid, and they have a you know, they do a wonderful job. But I just don't agree with the fact that if you throw more money at an education program, then it's going to get better results. It's just not the case. One of the highest per pupil rates for education is New York City. It's up to like $25,000, $26,000 per pupil. Yet they're not graduating students that are doing very well in college and going on to, you know, advanced degrees and what have you. So I disagree with the premise. And I think when the show that we were on a week ago when we talked about the magnet school, they talked about that. It isn't just increased money that's going to result in better education, if that in the end is a goal. What you will get, though, is you will get a even more bloated government, and you will get more bureaucracy.
But what we're hoping is that increased state aid will lower the local portion.
Okay, but you did not answer Matt's question.
Which was?
Which was that was the same bill of goods that was attempted to be sold to us in 1991, and did it happen?
No,
I can answer it for you. The answer is no.
But
it
Marty,
didn't.
there was never a proposal to adopt an income tax to fund education.
No, but it was supposed to offset the local property taxes, which do fund the lion's share of education. That's my point. And the other point that I want to make about 1991 is, and then I'll be quiet about it, was we had the question about being constitutional early in the show. Let me tell you what is unconstitutional. Blowing that state spending cap is unconstitutional. And that's what this budget's going to do unless somebody looks out for it.
Okay.
And I've got no sympathy for any legislator or executive that would violate the Constitution like that.
Carla, you still there?
I have to press the button.
Okay. You know what? I just got an interesting question here. Very interesting.
Why? I didn't hear anybody ask.
Is this is Jody Rail is doing the dirty work of President Bush? Do you think that she's raising taxes to fund the No Child Left Behind?
Come on, come on.
No,
President Bush has 2 years left in office.
Do you think Jody Rail is raising taxes
First of all, I don't
to really
support
fund the No Child Left
anyway,
Behind?
but I think this is above and beyond that.
Do you really think so?
No. I'm a former Board of Ed chairman. No.
You don't think so?
Absolutely not.
First spending is not above and beyond the
No, I don't think it has anything to do with Bush and No Child Left Behind.
Oh, okay.
Marty or Lynn, do you have a thought on that, or?
No.
No Child Left Behind? No. I mean,
Jump right in.
I basically, my understanding of No Child Left Behind was it had to be a certain level of accountability to make sure that these schools that were getting federal tax dollars were actually getting the results. And I think that the teachers union and otherwise chafed against that, having that accountability, which I think is unfortunate. That's my understanding.
That is part of it, Marty. But you know what? The lion's share of No Child Left Behind, I do support, like do most. I mean, you hear about these states suing to repeal No Child Left Behind. That's not what they're doing. They're suing to repeal small parts of No Child Left Behind. The lion's share of No Child Left Behind did meet unanimous agreement and has worked out very well, especially. Yeah. I mean, we are delivering a lot better than we did 5 years ago. Public schools were in dire straits in 1999, 2000. I think this has improved them somewhat. I don't think that's the only thing to do with it. But
again, if my understanding of No Child Left Behind, it wasn't just simply throwing money at education and we all go home feeling better of it.
No,
it was money that was tied to tangible results and test results and otherwise.
Nor is it a dangerous unfunded mandate. I mean, if people that were not in compliance, it fixed a lot of things that have been let to slide too long in public education.
Yeah, which I think is good.
Mm-hmm. So anyways.
Did that answer your question, Ivan?
Well, okay. Well, you know, I just want to
Ivan, you know what I think the theme of tonight's show is? You're mad as heck and you're not going to take it anymore.
I'm what?
You're mad as heck and you're not going to take it anymore, right?
You know what, though? We need smaller government.
You have 2 boys in the public schools, don't you?
Yeah, yes, one of them goes to the magnet school.
Oh, isn't that nice?
Right, and then one of them go to the best elementary school in Danbury, which is Millridge.
Fine institution.
So my kids are getting a great education, and then both my wife and I are college educated. So we hope that we would take the time. Well, that's what we're doing, taking the time to read at home with our kids and study with them and make sure that they study. And that's what we need. You see, you don't need to go to college. You don't even need to graduate from high school to.
But when they go to college, there'll be student financial aid because it's in Governor Rell's budget.
Student financial aid.
There's student financial aid now.
I know, she's increasing it.
Well, now there's even more.
There's even more.
Okay.
If I could just bring up one.
But your parents can't afford to pay for the college because you got to pay for all these taxes, and that's from a person who has a daughter in college already.
That's true.
It really,
Yeah,
you
and
got.
I have
It's a
three
real.
boys, and I have 3 boys.
You start saving now because it's not cheap.
Mine
you know?
are all done.
Well, yeah, Lynn, and you can blissfully say when you don't have some of these
It
kitchen
starts.
table issues, like sending your kids to school, and you can say, hey, my tax returns, I get money back.
You're taxing me
such
up.
a deal.
I've been out of
Go
school.
ahead,
I've been out of
raise my
school the better
taxes.
part of 5 years. Do you know what I'm paying in paying off my loans with now?
Yeah.
Boy, that's what's holding me back in some cases. Now, one thing that was brought up a minute ago here
Are you
that I'd
talking
like to
about like
talk
getting
about.
married and settling down? Is
I
that?
think you got it.
You hiring?
Could single-handedly address this
Can I help
Connecticut
you paint
population
something? Can I help you paint something?
Yeah, no, we need more, homeowners that buy houses that need to be painted.
And
That's right.
anyway, one of the things that was being looked into in the Transportation Committee is something that was stopped right before Lynn joined the legislature.
tolls.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Now, there were some very bad tragedies that took place at the tolls in the late 70s and the early 80s that then Governor Grasso said, no more. I mean, just was single-handedly cut off at the knees right there. Now, the idea may be to bring the tolls back will raise more money to pay for the road improvements because we know that our highways are in dire straits. So, will that work?
Not
I'm
in my
against it.
book. Will it lower the gas tax? I mean, why
Exactly.
bring the tolls back?
To pay for the highway maintenance.
we're
I'm not
paying
saying
for
it's
the
good or bad, but
highways
that's the
through
rationale. My state
gasoline
rep
tax.
is
We
part of the
keep
ones
paying
looking
for
at it.
more and more and more, and I'm not getting anything in return. Absolutely not.
You are.
Welcome to the United States, Ivan.
You are.
You know what we need to do? We need to start electing these incompetent people. That's what we need to do.
Stop electing incompetent people.
Stop. Because, I mean, think about it though. They need to revamp the education
You know what?
system.
You
They
know,
need to
I
look
have
at
to-
what's not working instead
I
of
actually have to defend these incompetent people because it's us, the idiots that actually vote for them, who want everything but don't want to pay
That
for it.
actually vote.
That actually vote. We want everything, Ivan. We don't want to pay for any of it. That's the problem. We want the best military and the best schools and the best roads,
Listen,
but we want it for free.
We want
Let me tell you
safe
something.
hamburger
Let me tell
when
you
we go
something.
in the store.
I
Who's going to
truly-
inspect it?
What is
I truly
what about
believe-
hamburgers tonight?
I
Lynn?
truly
Because
believe.
that's a function of state government. All of the
The
things.
hamburgers
You
are a
go
function
to
of
the
state
doctor.
government?
Does he
The
have a
cheese, the government
license?
cheese.
Who grants him a license? Who checks to make sure he didn't come out of wacky-do university?
That I understand.
I'm
But that I
serious.
understand. But
you
you know what,
never
though?
see the things that your state government
I'll tell you one thing
pays
though.
for.
I truly believe that we are a bunch of idiots when we elected this current president twice
Well, I'd agree
in the
with
White
you.
House.
I'd agree with you on
Twice.
that.
Ivan,
And I
you didn't.
never
Okay.
voted for him.
I'm telling you this. I believe America needs to really check itself
With Rudy
You wanna
Giuliani.
know something? You wanna know
because we
something?
elected
Rudy Giuliani.
this imbecile
Ivan's
twice.
having a meltdown.
I'm telling you.
Let me just tell you something.
Hold on. Did you hear the report? Did you hear the report that just came out that he wasted like billions of dollars in Iraq? No accountability. They don't know where the money is.
And the reconstruction money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he want to send more money and more troops, and we're like,
Ivan,
I mean, how long are we gonna allow this guy to destroy this country?
I want to tell you something that's
Ivan, he can't run again.
Ivan.
But stop him dead.
Ivan, you're going to get us kicked out.
No. What I meant was stop him.
Security.
This
Send him
is
back to
something to
Texas.
consider, and I think it's interesting because it just happened in our last congressional election. We had a turnover of the House of Representatives. We had a turnover of the Senate.
Barely.
Well, I mean, you know, it is what it
We got a
is.
quorum.
You know, and the point is that hold on, let me finish my point. The point is that a democracy it can reproduce itself. It can make changes. It's a beautiful system, and it isn't just because we have one president who you maybe disagree with. I don't feel quite as passionately about that.
Listen. President Clinton, okay, got a little excited from a 20-year-old, okay?
Yeah.
So what did we do?
Kick him out.
Impeached him.
We impeached him.
Right.
We got this guy.
Yeah, but it wasn't
Okay?
confirmed in the Senate.
We got, it doesn't matter, but we got this guy,
Yeah.
okay? Got the blood of American children in his hands,
Yeah.
and we still gonna give him 8 years. Think about it. Caller, you're in the air.
Try your call again.
Oh.
See, look what you did.
You see?
You're the person from
You see what I'm saying?
I see, but my point is, and this is sort of from your perspective, it's good news because it happens in front of the entire world, is the fact that the government responds to the people. It's a government for, by, and of the people. And we do, in the end, have a say in our government. And if there isn't peace abroad and prosperity at home, more often than not, the administration that's in power gets voted out. So, you know,
It works.
yeah, it works, and he has to come and face the voters. The fact that he got voted in twice
Was
I
an
think
accident.
I don't think it was. I don't necessarily think it was an accident, and I don't share your opinion regarding George Bush that he has the blood. I think, you know, our country was attacked.
He
on
concocted
9/11.
this whole thing, and now
Look,
we got soldiers
look.
dying.
Well, I think
Ivan,
we're,
Ivan,
and he doesn't have the
dangerously
blood?
close to
Ivan,
coming out with
Ivan.
Kevin Gallagher status at this
Okay,
point.
okay, all right. So do you believe they came out and said Iraq does not have weapon of mass destruction? I mean, he
Ivan,
concocted the whole thing.
Ivan, we've heard a lot tonight about what you don't like. Can you tell us what you do like?
Okay.
I mean,
all right. I
what-
like his wife. I think his wife is really sweet.
Okay.
That's good.
Hey, guys, we have 2
And you
minutes.
like Lou Rel, I'm sure.
Okay.
too.
Too bad Teddy couldn't join us tonight.
Man, Teddy is so lucky. He was going to get eaten for dinner by Len Tawasak tonight.
Well,
I
that's the
don't
way to
know-
get him on next time.
I don't know that
Right,
would have happened.
claiming that.
Didn't you give him a nice gift last time you saw him, a flashlight, I think
Yes, I gave him a little flashlight so you could see the light.
There you go.
it was? Was he appreciative?
He was very appreciative.
Okay.
Well, we are back
I thi-
again next week, live.
What a shame.
What do you think the topic should be for next week?
Well, don't forget, in 2 weeks we're in Brookfield.
I know, but what do you think the topic should be for next
Let's
week?
see what
I want to have
increases
I want to have
proposed over
Ted
the
come back
7
next
days.
week.
You're gonna have
I
Ted
want
come back?
I want Ted,
Overdevelopment in the city, right? We have 1 minute.
and I
Listen,
want you to take Prozac before you host the next
listen,
show.
Yes.
all I want is for us
I
to
agree,
send
Matt.
George Bush back to Texas. That's all I want.
He's
If we
going
can-
back in 2
If
years.
we can impeach President Clinton for being excited by a 24-year-old girl, we can send Bush wherever he's going.
There's a difference,
for
though.
having the blood of our children in his hands,
Arkansas
all right?
didn't want Clinton back.
We'll see you guys later. Bye. See you next week.
The power to
Thank you.
The power to